What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Today we got an interesting one for you, and I mean interesting, guys. This one's coming from CNBC. It says Victor M. Sweeney, 33, doesn't fear death. The licensed mortician and funeral director in Warren, Minnesota, observed his first embalming at age 18. Here's a look at what it takes to do his job and why he's happy with the way his life has turned out. Guys, let's get right into it.
I really don't fear death. I realize that if I'm gonna die, that's okay. Because everyone does it. Everyone does. My name is Victor M. Sweeney. I'm a licensed funeral director and mortician in Warren, Minnesota, and I make around $87,000 a year.
Duport Funeral Home, this is Victor. How can I help you?
After a person passes away, it's up to either the family or maybe the facility where they have died to give me a call. We answer the phone 24/7. Every funeral home in the country does. The next step will be me getting myself dressed and showing up to the place of death with a cot. I'll go into the room, meet with the family, and then sometimes I ask them if they seem open to it, if they would like to help me transfer the body from the deathbed to my cot.
Wow. That's the first I've ever heard of that. Actually, it's when my dad passed away. They asked us to go into the other room while they did that. So that's the first that I've heard of that. And to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know if that's something I would have been comfortable with at the time doing or not. And yeah.
We'll ascertain that, and then I head back to the funeral home. Whether that's 3 in the afternoon or 3 in the morning, I'll start embalming right away, if that's what the family requests. The main goal of embalming is to sanitize the body and also preserve it. So kill the bacteria that are running wild after death, but then also preserve the tissue so it isn't breaking down the day of the funeral and we're dealing with decomposition and smell and all other unsightly things.
Yes.
So I grew up in a pretty death-positive family. My older sister was born and died before I was born. So I grew up as a kid going to the cemetery and cleaning off Kate's grave. And then in addition to that, up until between the ages of maybe 10 and 20, we had a big family funeral every year. So whether it was a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle, someone close to us died. So I was exposed to a fair bit of that growing up.
Yeah. I've had my fair share of funerals with some older people as I was, great grandparents and stuff like that. But I was always I watched a lot of horror movies when I was a kid, and I didn't like going to funerals and seeing dead bodies, going up to a casket. That just wasn't my thing. I wanted to stay way back. I did not enjoy that at all.
I have seen a lot of lives come and go, and the old adage of you can't take it with you is terribly true. So I've really just tried to nurture just a general disinterest in wealth and making money and keeping too much of it. If I ever have much more than I need, I don't want to be too attached to it. I want to be able to give it away and not beat myself up about it. The kind of person that I think does best in the funeral world is one that kind of treads the middle way between maybe two extremes. On one extreme, you might have someone who is really morbid. They're really into dead bodies or really interested in death. I don't know if that's healthy. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I've seen people struggle that are almost too empathetic, and that when they meet with a family, they're all tears. And it's hard to get business done. Going between those two things or holding them in tension is really what a funeral director is called to do and ought to do if they want to be successful.
Not a bad little pay.
Maybe I make less money here, but I also have fewer expenses. Groceries are a little more. They're hard to get way up here in the hinterlands. I can't eat out very often because there is only one restaurant in town, but like taxes are fairly low. My house
make you
and
save money.
mortgage are relatively inexpensive.
$85,000 he bought that home for. Should have been 15. Not bad at all.
You never know when someone's going to die. So it's really unpredictable and is an extreme challenge for my wife, who stays home and watches me run in and out and every which way all day. When I was in high school, on my way to discerning what I wanted to do with my life, what I realized is that, quite frankly, I'm too selfish to be a priest. I think I like accolades too much. In my first couple weeks at the funeral home, when I was still in high school, the boss took me into his office and he said, "Victor, I think if you're earnest about this, I think you need to go and witness an embalming." He had me watch my first embalming, which was an 18-year-old girl who died in a car crash before graduation. So the very first body that I had really hands-on experience with was someone my own age.
I couldn't imagine that. That's, I remember a kid when I was in school, was in middle school. The guy was like 14 years old, and there was a boating accident on the lake, and that was the first time that somebody that I knew, that I walked past the school doors every day. Yeah. Had oh had I didn't even know him that well, but it was just the realization then that, you know.
And I got to tell you, that was extremely challenging. And what I found then is that I'm kind of in a privileged position, because unlike maybe her parents, right, they can't really do much other than just accept the new and really hard reality. I was in a position where I could actually do something. So I could push the casket in and out of the church. Or now, everything that kind of happens at the funeral, from the planning of the funeral to staffing it, to running the music sometimes, or even singing in the choir, in addition to all the body work, even though it's physically demanding and mentally demanding and emotionally demanding, the fact that I get to actively do something kind of gets you through. Being in a small town like where I am, you end up knowing almost everybody who comes through the door. So if you don't know the deceased, you certainly know some of their family. And that gets hard. It gets emotional at times, and that's okay. When you know a person, you can write their obituary. You don't have to ask every boilerplate question because you know them. It's kind of that beautiful mix. You have the hard things, but then there is just something so beautiful about the deep knowledge of the people that come through your door that is worth so much more than even the heartache that sometimes follows. I take care of one of the cemetery maps in my town, the Catholic cemetery.
Wow.
And looking through the records at the cemetery and through the old records kept in Latin at the church, I found that there are 5 unmarked graves.
Zmiłuj się nad nami, which is Polish for pray for us.
It's been my mission, and is going to be my mission over the next couple years, to carve and mark each of those 5 unmarked graves with the details of who's been lying there, unknown and kind of forgotten for sometimes decades.
Man, that's cool.
This one's going to Peter Hefta. When living memory fades, like this gentleman here has been dead since '68, and he didn't have any family, so there's probably no one alive that remembers him. If he can't last in living memory, then we should at least mark the fact that he was here.
Be right back.
I field probably one really good job offer every year. So the last job I was offered was over $200,000 a year to do what I'm doing now, but do it in a larger city, in a corporate setting. In reflecting on whether that job would be a good fit, I saw it as this mechanical sort of do the tasks. You have this linear element where you just set things up and you take care of them. But here, where I know the families, everything kind of becomes personal all of a sudden.
Thanks, Rick. See ya.
It became very apparent to me that one of the things I love about where I'm at, if I see a family needs something and I maybe need to give something away, I can do that. There are no corporate rules against operating on a human level instead of on a business level. That's something I value probably more than anything else.
I think I'm gonna play Super Smash on Monday if you wanna come, Chris.
I'm really happy with how my life has turned out. I didn't expect it. I never expected to be a mortician, let alone a mortician in the middle of nowhere, Minnesota. I have all the things I need, some of the things I want. My wife likes me and my kids wait for me to come home every day.
My wife likes me.
I love my boss. I love what I do. To actually be of service and provide value that way is extremely gratifying. I don't think I've gone home a single day since I've been up here sad, thinking that I should have done something else. And I think that's all a man can ask for.
All right, guys, well, that's the video. Man, you know, that's the one thing that, you know, I really, it does take special people to do that job. I couldn't, you know, I don't know that I could. I really don't know that I could. It's even hard to talk about, you know. You know, getting older, I've lost a lot of people, grandparents, some friends, my dad. My dad's one that kind of hit me real hard, and it's still harder since 2017, but it's still so tough to talk about. Just so tough to talk about. Um, I mean, yeah, I guess just because I miss him. I mean, it wasn't nothing bad. We had a great relationship before, but man, it's just, yeah, it's just one that's I don't talk about often enough. Probably that's probably why I'm getting this way. You know, watching this video at a time like this when you got the world kind of going at each other, each side, mad, hating each other. It ain't worth it, man. It ain't worth it. I just think we all should try to find common grounds and don't let political things make us treat other people differently, no matter what we believe. It doesn't matter if I believe that you know, gays should be married or things about abortion rights or whatever. We're all just people, and it doesn't matter. You can still love people whether you agree with their lifestyles or not. You know, I think that's what's mostly important. And we just need to quit going at each other because life's short, man. It's short. Why are we spending it fighting with each other? Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that we all get something out of it. You know, always do. Like I said, it definitely takes special people like that in the world. I'm glad I watched the video because it's made me think about things and it was just people in general. And I know that I'm gonna do my part to try to make sure that I treat everybody equal and nice and caring, no matter what their political stances, religion stances are. We're all just people, and I think we should love each other. Guys, that's going to do it for this one. Hope to see you on the next one. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.